Blackwood Manor stood like a shadow at the edge of the town, its silhouette jagged against the evening sky. Time had gnawed at its walls, leaving only whispers of its former splendor. No one dared to approach it, not even the bravest souls. The stories were enough to keep them away, stories of the family that had vanished overnight, leaving a warm fire in the hearth and a dinner half-eaten. But Alice was not from the town. She was a journalist, young and ambitious, with a hunger for a story that would set her apart. The manor, with its ominous history, was irresistible to her. A tale of the supernatural, of shadows and secrets, it was exactly what she needed. When Alice stepped into the manor that October evening, the air inside clung to her like a damp shroud. Her flashlight cut weak beams through the gloom, illuminating fragments of a life abandoned. The dining room was her first discovery, a long table, still set for a feast, though the food had long since decayed. The centerpiece, a silver candelabra, seemed to glint as if mocking her intrusion. She spoke aloud, her voice quivering despite her resolve. "Is anyone here?" The house answered only with silence, though it seemed to breathe, the creaks and groans of its ancient frame alive with something unseen. As she ventured deeper, her recorder began to hum with static. Then came the whispers. Faint at first, like a breeze teasing the ear, they soon grew distinct. "Leave. Now." Alice froze. Her breath caught in her throat. The whispers seemed to coil around her, pressing against her mind. But logic, her steadfast companion, assured her it was nothing more than interference. Resolute, she pressed on. The staircase was treacherous, each step a groan of protest under her weight. At the top, she found a hallway lined with doors, most of them locked. One door, however, stood ajar, its darkness beckoning. Inside was a child's room. The air was heavier here, oppressive. A small bed sagged in the corner, its quilt faded and riddled with holes. Dolls lined a shelf along the wall, their eyes glittering in the beam of her flashlight. One had fallen to the floor, its porcelain face cracked, its smile a jagged slash. She picked up the doll and placed it back on the shelf, but when she turned to leave, her eyes caught something in the mirror. At first, she thought it was her reflection. But there was someone else, a woman in a black dress, her face pale and streaked with crimson, standing just behind Alice. The woman's eyes were voids, dark and unyielding. She raised a finger to her lips in a gesture of silence. Alice spun around, the flashlight trembling in her grip. The room was empty. The whispers grew louder as she backed out of the room, now low moans that filled the hallway. She fled down the stairs, her every step pursued by unseen footsteps. When she reached the front door, it slammed shut with a force that rattled the walls. The air turned icy, her breath visible in the dim light. A voice, guttural and raw, growled from the shadows. "Leave, but you will not be alone." Alice's scream shattered the silence as she wrenched the door open and stumbled into the night. She didn't stop running until she reached her car, her chest heaving, her mind racing. When she listened to the recorder later, the whispers were unmistakable. But the clearest sound of all was a child's voice, soft and insistent, repeating a single word. "Stay." From that night on, Alice was never truly alone. The shadows in her apartment grew darker, her reflection often seemed delayed, and sometimes, just out of the corner of her eye, she saw the woman in the black dress watching her.